Here's why Aemond wanted Vhagar to attack without Aegon's permission. The Dance of the Dragons is remembered as one of the most devastating civil wars in Westeros history, a conflict that tore House Targaryen apart from within and left the realm scarred for generations. Among its many infamous moments, one figure stands out: Prince Aemond Targaryen, known to history as Aemond One-Eye. He was bold, ruthless, and consumed by a burning ambition that often placed him at odds not just with his enemies, but with his own family. Aemond's defining act came at Storm's End, when he pursued Lucerys Velaryon through the skies and unleashed the power of Vhagar, the largest and most terrifying dragon alive. Whether he intended to kill or merely to intimidate, the result was the same: Lucerys and his dragon Arax perished, and the first blood of the dance was spilled. What makes this moment even more fascinating is that Aemond acted without his brother King Aegon II's knowledge or permission. He did not wait for orders, nor did he consult the crown. Instead, he chose to act on his own, a decision that would have catastrophic consequences. So why did Aemond want Vhagar to attack without Aegon's permission? To answer this, we must unravel the layers of Aemond's character, his relationship with his brother, the psychology of dragon riding, and the political tensions of the era. The truth lies at the intersection of pride, resentment, and a hunger for power that could not be contained. Aemond was not born the heir. He was the second son of King Viserys and Queen Alicent, always standing in the shadow of his older brother Aegon. Where Aegon was reckless, indulgent, and often disinterested in the burdens of rule, Aemond was disciplined, serious, and ambitious. From an early age, he carried himself not as a spare, but as someone destined to be great. His training, his focus, and his demeanor marked him as a man who believed he was made for power. Yet the laws of succession placed Aegon ahead of him, and later the Great Council crowned Aegon as king when Viserys died. This created a dynamic where Aemond believed he was more deserving, more capable, and more ruthless than his brother, but also shackled to him by duty. This tension shaped Aemond's every decision. Acting without Aegon's permission was not merely a moment of rashness, it was an expression of this resentment. Aemond saw himself as stronger and smarter than his brother. He considered Aegon unworthy of the throne, a man who drank and whored while others made the real decisions. In Aemond's eyes, the war against Rhaenyra required decisiveness and strength, and if Aegon would not provide it, then Aemond would step forward. The attack at Storm's End was the embodiment of that belief. But there is another layer, one that cuts even deeper: the matter of vengeance. Lucerys Velaryon was not just a political rival. He was the boy who took Aemond's eye years earlier in a violent confrontation at Driftmark. That childhood wound defined Aemond's life. He wore the loss of his eye as both a scar and a badge of honor, replacing it with a sapphire and cultivating an image of cold, ruthless menace. For Aemond, killing Lucerys was not simply about the war, it was personal. It was vengeance for a humiliation that had haunted him since boyhood. This need for revenge burned so brightly that he could not wait for his brother's approval. Aegon might have hesitated, Aegon might have forbidden it, but Aemond would not be denied. Vhagar's fire was his justice, and he unleashed it without hesitation. Yet even here, the dragons themselves cannot be ignored. Riding Vhagar, the oldest and most powerful dragon in the world, gave Aemond a sense of strength that no king's command could ever rival. Dragons magnify the will of their riders, but they also have wills of their own. In that storm, with Arax taunting and Vhagar's blood stirred, the boundary between rider and beast blurred. Aemond may have wanted to frighten Luke rather than kill him, but Vhagar was not a creature to be restrained. When she struck, it was the culmination of both dragon and rider's fury. This raises the haunting question: did Aemond lose control, or did he finally reveal what he had always desired? Either way, his choice to take Vhagar into the storm was his alone, not his brother's. Politically, Aemond's action also reveals his strategic mindset. The war between the Blacks and the Greens was inevitable, but neither side had yet committed to open bloodshed. By killing Lucerys, Aemond ensured that there could be no turning back. He forced the war into motion, locking both sides into a path of fire and blood. To him, this was not recklessness, it was clarity. The time for diplomacy was over. By striking first, he believed he gave the Greens momentum. And by doing it on his own terms, without Aegon's command, he proved that he was the true architect of their cause. In a way, Aemond saw himself not as the king's servant, but as the king's sword, a sword that would strike where his brother was too weak to act. There is irony here too. Aemond's decision, made in defiance of his brother's authority, ultimately shaped the war in ways that hurt their cause. Lucerys' death did not cow Rhaenyra into submission. It enraged her. It broke her heart and hardened her resolve. The Blacks rallied with renewed fury, and the dance of the dragons escalated beyond control. Aemond may have believed he was taking decisive action, but in truth, he had unleashed a storm that would consume his family. Still, from his perspective, it was worth it. He had avenged his eye, proven his dominance, and shown the realm that it was he, not Aegon, who held true power. This moment reveals the essence of Aemond's character. He was not a man content to follow. He was not a loyal second son who lived in his brother's shadow. He was a man who believed himself a dragon in his own right, and dragons do not ask for permission. His use of Vhagar without Aegon's approval symbolized his belief that he alone had the strength and vision to win the war. His brother might wear the crown, but Aemond would wield the fire. And so, history remembers him not just as Aemond One-Eye, but as the prince whose defiance lit the skies with fire. His decision to act without Aegon's permission was born of pride, vengeance, ambition, and the intoxicating power of the dragon beneath him. It was a choice that shattered any hope of peace and ensured that the dance of the dragons would rage until both sides lay in ruin. That is why Aemond wanted Vhagar to attack without Aegon's permission, because in his heart, he never believed he needed it. He was a Targaryen, he was a dragon rider, he was vengeance incarnate. And in the storm over Storm's End, he proved that no crown, no throne, and no brother could contain him.